Hi everyone, and I am here to talk to you about some of the books I am hoping to read in December. December is one of those months that I find I really depend on it to be a magnificent reading month. So I'm trying to cover all my bases. I'm planning on reading lots of festive things. I'm planning on reading many mysteries, and I will also be taking part in a brand new readathon. And the name of the readathon is the Remember December Rereadathon. So it's pretty self-explanatory. The goal of the readathon is to reread books. And in December, I was already planning on rereading a fair number of books. And this just was a lovely time to collide with a readathon. I heard about this readathon over at Roz's channel, Scallydandling About the Books. And there are a whole slew of lovely co-hosts, so I will link them all down below if you are interested in hearing about them. So I will be talking about some rereads, some new to me reads, some buddy reads that I'm planning on. It's a bunch of books. I will not be speaking about mysteries in this video, however. I am, right after this, going to film a library haul. I don't want to make a TBR of sorts, kind of. I just thought I would show the physical books I've hauled from the library. I also will have audiobooks and ebooks, but I thought I could give you an idea of some of the things I was thinking about reading mystery-wise. But for now, in this video, I wanted to talk about, I'll start with the rereads. And the first one that I am so excited to be rereading and in a new format to me for the first time. So I'm not very much following the prompts for the Remember December Rereadathon, but one is read in a different format. And so this will be my first time reading in the letters edition of Little Women. This is the complete novel featuring the characters' letters and manuscripts written and folded by hand, and it's curated by Barbara Heller. She has also done Pride and Prejudice and Persuasion. And I have to say that when I picked this book up for my reread yesterday, I just had to hug it when I first picked it up because this is such a beautiful, moving story. And I've kind of been wanting to reread it for a few years, but I wanted to wait until I absolutely was desperate to reread it. I did not want it to be too soon and for me to not enjoy the reread as much as I could if I had waited the right amount of time. It feels very much like just the right time, and I will be watching several film adaptations in December and January. I like to spread the Christmas goodness out through January as well. So if you're going to pick a time to reread Little Women, I mean, the Christmas season does seem perfect. It is so very cozy. Even though there's a lot of scenes not at Christmas, it's just so very cozy. It's filled with the Christmas spirit. So I'm very much looking forward to rereading this. Then I am hoping to read some sweet Christmas romances. So the reread option that I have is The Two Bells of Christmas by Joanna Barker. This is a Christmas novella about twin sisters that go to stay with a house party in this big estate. And one of the sisters, who is considered kind of more eligible, is under the weather, very ill, not feeling well. And so she asks her twin to pose as her. And that twin starts to fall in love with the man who is supposed to be falling in love with the unwell twin. So you can imagine things get a little bit complex. And it was highly, highly enjoyable. That being said, though, I do have, there's a series, and I can't remember the name of the series, but Regency Christmas novellas, or some of them are just novel length. And I'm very excited about these because they're just, I love how you get all of the festivities being celebrated. You have some character development, you have some romance, and it just makes for a great time in the Christmas season. So out of those, the one that I have started the audiobook of is A Mistletoe Mismatch by Sally Britton. And it is about these two sisters, and one of them is interested in a neighbor. And her older sister thinks he is totally wrong for her. They should not get together. And she has kind of this frenemy that is, he comes home to be with relatives. It's his cousin in the Christmas season. And they team up to make sure that the sister and neighbor do not end up together, but they might end up falling in love in the process. So far the writing is altogether lovely. The narrator I'm not wild about. Her British accent is lacking. But I'm enjoying the story so much, and I don't feel like paying for this ebook, that I'm just enjoying it in this format. Now, the other ones that I do have the ebooks of, the first one is A Tangled Wreath, then A Yorkshire Carol, and Sleigh Ride Kiss. Now, I do not know much about, I can't remember much about the plots of them. I just remember a few years ago they were on sale, and I ended up purchasing the ones that sounded intriguing to me, except for Mistletoe Mismatch, which I'm not sure why I didn't buy it then, because the concept of the plot sounded very intriguing to me. So I'm about halfway through that and really enjoying it. Okay, then carrying on with the rereads, the next one, and the first year that I read this, I knew immediately this is going to be a yearly reread, because also I love having short, delightful things to read in the Christmas season. And this is just over 100 pages, and it is the best Christmas pageant ever, all about the Herdman family, who are just chaos, the utter chaos, and they want to take part in this Christmas pageant, and everyone is really unsure about whether that is a good idea. I love the audiobook read by the author. It's really funny, and it has a really touching ending that seems fitting for Christmas, so I'll be listening to this again with my boys. They love this story. Then the next one, and this is one, it'll be my third time reading through this. These are sugary sweet, and I love them for it. Noel Streatfeild's Christmas Stories. So last year, I had car trouble, and I was waiting to be picked up, and I sat through and I read this whole collection in one sitting. And I was hoping it was going to live up to my memory of it. Actually, the first time I read it, I liked it, but I didn't love it. The second time, I just loved it. I think because I went in knowing just how kind of sweet the stories were going to be. And they're all set around Christmas time, involving endearing families. And I love the writing in this. And it's just very cozy and sweet for the Christmas season. The next one that I want to reread is Letters from Father Christmas. This is a series of letters that Tolkien wrote to his children, pretending he was Father Christmas, and they're so charming, and there's a whole kind of folklore that Tolkien has come up with for the North Pole and all of the people that live there, and there's a polar bear who is one of the main correspondents, and it's just delightful. Also, if you can get your hands on a physical copy, see, the audiobook is lovely too, so we'll be doing the audiobook, but the physical copy has really nice illustrations. So ideally, you would have the physical copy and the audiobook, because I love all of the transitional music that's on the audiobook. And I think it's maybe an hour and a half long. It's not very long at all. So a nice, short, quick read. And then another reread, and one I read last year for the first time, and that was The Light at Tern Rock. This really is short. Let's see how many pages it is. 62 pages, and many of the pages have illustrations. So it's probably more like 50 pages. It is about Ronnie and his aunt, and they are taking care of this lighthouse at Tern Rock, really close to the Christmas season, but then they're going to go back and be with family, and they're waiting on the lighthouse keeper to come back, and it ends up being this really touching, moving story, and just a very lovely gem of a book. Really recommend this one. And it won the Newbery. This is a very plain Jane kind of sticker, but it's saying that it won the Newbery. Okay, then the next one, another one that I read for the first time last year and loved it so much. I'm just checking, are there illustrations? No, there are not. So this is by Andrew Clements, and so people who read American middle grade literature will know that name. And this is the last holiday concert about a group of students who act really rotten to their music director. And when they're prepping for the Christmas program, and he's like, fine, you guys can do it all on your own. So then they're scrambling, trying to do a Christmas program all on their own. This is around 160 pages, so again, a really quick one. I might do the audiobook with the boys if they're interested. If they're not, I'll just read it on my own. It's really easy to do, and it has what I'm always hoping for in holiday middle grade, where it's funny and humorous, but then it has a heartwarming ending. So really, really liked this one last year, and I love having good middle grade to turn to. Okay, then the next one is The Last Christmas in Paris. This is a beautiful historical fiction that is written in letters and newspaper articles, all sorts of things. And then the audiobook is narrated by the different characters writing the letters and articles. And it's so beautifully done. It's all set around World War I. And so I love kind of the juxtaposition of all of these terrible atrocities happening in the world, kind of contrasted with the warmth and what do I want to say? The warmth and love of the Christmas season, and not kind of making light of those problems, but just showing how wonderful it can be to treasure the delightful things in life in the midst of those hard times. So it's been a few years since I read this for the first time, and I'm really hoping my reread lives up to my memory of it. I remember really, really loving this. And particularly the audiobook is what made it for me. And then the next one, and this is the final Kindred Spirits Club meeting in the format that it is. I will be periodically hosting those kinds of books over on my Patreon. In the month of January, we're reading The King's General by Daphne du Maurier. I'm very excited for that. But the last official Kindred Spirits Club meeting is going to be discussing The Wednesday Wars by Gary D. Schmidt. This book just blew my mind when I first read it. Then I reread it last year and loved it so much, I thought I have to get others to read this with me. I love just this kind of book where there's so many funny things that happen in this. There's a real love for Shakespeare in this. There is so much heart in this book and so many poignant life lessons, and really showing resilience in the midst of hard things that they're going through. So yes, definitely recommend The Wednesday Wars. If you would like to join the book discussion of this, it's going to be on Saturday, December 9th at 2 p.m. I could not remember the date for a minute, but Saturday, December 9th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can email me. My email address is linked down below, and or it's listed down below. And I would love to have you at the discussion. And then one that I don't even know how many times I've read this, but this time, for the first time in this edition, and this is the, what is it called? An engaging visual journey edition of A Christmas Carol. I saw this online and knew I had to have this edition. So it just has a real variety of styles of illustrations. Some like this, some like that, and let's see here. This one looks really different. So I like, it has, there's not really a common kind of theme with the style. And I love it all. I love it all. And then it includes some recipes. Oh, here's the Cratchit family. And I'm really excited to read it in this format. So I think I will do immersive reading and listen to the Jim Dale audiobook as I'm reading through this. I might just read it physically. And also I was toying around with possibly reading it aloud to the boys. So I don't know. Also included in the back is The Gift of the Magi, The Torn Cloak by Maxime Ducamp, which is translated from French. And I have never read this story, so I'm very excited to have a new Christmas story to read. Then The Louis d'Or by Francois Coppet, another one that's translated from French. And The Adventure of the Blue Carbuncle, which is not one of my favorite out of the Sherlock Holmes short stories, so I think I'll skip that. And then I love in the back, it has some sheet music of different Christmas carols, and some that I'm not familiar with. So, yeah, it's just a really cool way to put together a story. There's also one of Les Mis in this engaging visual journey edition. Another one that I like to reread every few years is Skipping Christmas by John Grisham. There is a film that is adapted from it called Christmas with the Cranks, and it's all about this couple who is tired of the hustle and bustle of the Christmas season, and they are given the perfect opportunity to skip Christmas when their daughter, who is in college, is going to be away for Christmas. So they say, let's not do anything, not spend any money on it, and let's go on a cruise instead. And how this shakes up their little town, who is not okay with them just deciding to skip Christmas. It's really, really funny. I haven't really read anything else by John Grisham, but I love Skipping Christmas. And I love Christmas with the Cranks. It's one of those movies that I find myself looking forward to watching every year. Okay, then it's been about 5 years since I have read The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. And I realized it's been about 5 years because Arthur was a newborn. The year that he was born in 2018 was when I read this. And now he's going to be 6 next year, which is just crazy. So I thought, what more perfect time to start a reread through the series than at Christmas time with The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And I love these editions that I have. Emma from Bookish Princess has just reminded me of the loveliness of this series in her recent reading wrap-ups. And I have the same editions as her, which have these beautiful, colorful illustrations. And most of the prior editions did not have color illustrations. And I love the tones of the colors that they use. I don't think they look kind of campy, or they're just right. I think they look beautiful. So I'm really excited to be reading in this edition. I have no plan for the speed at which I'm going to read. I just know I'm going to read in publication order. That's the way I like to read it. So I'll start with The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And I actually have already planned. This is going to be I will start it on Christmas Eve, and I'm going to watch the terrible but wonderful, when I finish this, the terrible but wonderful BBC 1980s miniseries adaptation that people are very divided on it. I kind of love it. I find it very cozy. It's very over the top, but cozy. Okay, then one that is partially reread, partially new to me, Christmas at Thompson Hall by Anthony Trollope, or it's Christmas at Thompson Hall and Other Christmas Stories by Anthony Trollope. So I read a few years back Christmas at Thompson Hall. I actually did a read aloud of this story at my Victorian book club that I no longer run, but it was an in-person Victorian book club, and I got to read the story aloud. It was so much fun to get to do that. It got so many laughs because it's such a comical story. So I'm really looking forward to rereading that story. It is just delightful and lovely. And then for the first time, I will be reading Christmas Day at Kirkby Cottage, The Mistletoe Bough, The Two Generals, and Not If I Know It. So actually, I think I will work my way backwards in this collection. And save Christmas Day at Kirkby Cottage and Christmas at Thompson Hall for last, because I think I remember in the reviews people not being as enthusiastic about the other ones. But this one will be really enjoyable. And then I might possibly do a reread of The Christmasaurus by Tom Fletcher. I really enjoy this story, all about William Trundle, who is a little boy who uses a wheelchair and wishes for a dinosaur to come at Christmas, and the dinosaur and he go on all sorts of great adventures. It is just chock full of illustrations and so charming and heartwarming, and I just love it. So maybe I will reread this year as well. That could be a lot of fun. Okay, those are all the rereads. Quite a lot, I know. So this is, pile of possibilities kind of thing. But there are also many, many short books and children's books. So we'll just see what happens with that. Okay, then I have some buddy reads. Ones that I am excited about. I'm excited about all of these. So the first buddy read I'm going to be doing with several friends on Voxer. And it is The 13 Days of Christmas by Jennie Overton. And I really am excited about this. The illustrations are done by Shirley Hughes. If you have read the Alfie picture books, Shirley Hughes did those, or The Naughty Little Sister. I love her illustration style. And it's set in the Elizabethan era. And Anne Apple Kitson? I'm not sure how you say that. But anyhow, they want her to get engaged to her sweetheart, Frances Vere. And so then she, each day of Christmas, receives one of the 12 days of Christmas gifts. And it just gets more and more chaotic. It's supposed to be really charming and endearing. I am looking forward to this. Miranda Mills is who I heard about it from. Then the next one I'm going to be buddy reading with Gina. Fumbling over my words, her Instagram handle is Babs Beloved Books. And we are going to be reading The Lion in the Box by Marguerite D'Angeli. I fell so in love with The Door in the Wall by Marguerite D'Angeli. And Gina recommended this. It is harder to find online for a reasonable price, but I did find it finally for a a mostly reasonable price, and I'm looking forward to this. I have no idea what it's about. I just trust Gina's recommendations, and I loved The Door on the Wall so much and wanted to read anything else I could by Marguerite D'Angeli. So I will see what I end up thinking of this. So those are, oh, then also on my Patreon, in the month of December, we are discussing Under the Greenwood Tree by Thomas Hardy. I've already finished my reread of that, so I'm ready for that discussion. And then I am reading for the first time Mr. Ray's Cashbox. This is a Christmas story by Wilkie Collins. It's a novella and part mystery. It seems like it will be heartwarming as well, about a grandfather who his cash box goes missing, and he and his granddaughter kind of their quest to find it. I think that's what it is. And I'm really excited to be discussing that. So Under the Greenwood Tree, we're discussing on December the 16th in the afternoon and the 18th in the evening, whoever can make it to, what time. And then Mr. Ray's Cashbox, we're discussing on Wednesday the 27th in the evening. It was like an extra discussion that I offered, so I just picked a weeknight evening after Christmas, hopefully when things are a little bit less busy for people. I'm very excited to discuss Mr. Ray's Cashbox, a new to me Victorian read. Then several new to me reads that I'm also excited about. So firstly is The Fox at the Manger by P.L. Travers. This is a very not aesthetically pleasing edition of it, but it is kind of her retelling of the legend of the animals talking at Christmas, talking on Christmas Eve. And I will see what I think of it. I've just heard lovely things about it. Then I heard about this from Sarah Clarkson on her blog. The Silent Bells by William McKellar. This is a short little sweet Christmas story all about a Swedish village and the bells that weren't working. And there's illustrations throughout this, always a bonus for me. And then I think it's his mission to try to get the bells to work, or it's a little girl actually, her trying to get the bells to work. And it's a Christmas miracle kind of story. So this is less than 100 pages. And then I definitely wanted something special for my morning quiet time. I always start out with some kind of Bible reading. And this is God With Us, Rediscovering the Meaning of Christmas. So it gives you a special section for each Sunday in Advent. And then it has scripture that you read each morning. So just to do with the Advent, prophecies, foretelling the Advent sort of things. And then there's a whole kind of reflection page and a prayer at the end of it. So it looks to be really lovely. This was also recommended by Sarah Clarkson, and I'm looking forward to that. Then my parents were kind of culling some of their Christmas books, and my dad said he really enjoyed this, but he was happy to pass it on. And this is called Christmas Gift by Farrell Sams. He is from Atlanta, Georgia, and this is his kind of Christmas memoir, just reflecting on Christmas as a child. I have gotten, how many pages into this? Not very far at all. 26 pages, but it's also very short. So 26 out of 90 pages, and it is so cozy and warm and kind of just what I was hoping it would be. So very excited to continue with this, and this could be a new kind of favorite Christmas book to look back on. Yeah, really, really enjoyed this. So yeah, Farrell Sams is the name of the author. Okay, are those all of them? Yes, that is my big pile of festive Christmas reads. I'm really excited to have a whole slew of festive books to look forward to reading and rereading. Let me know if you are picking any of these same titles up, and I will be back with another video soon. Bye!